Giant-sized wolf attacks a dog, a horrifying encounter with a large sea creature in South Florida, possible footage of a shape-shifting skinwalker, all this and more. This is some of the scariest leaked cryptid footage. What would you do if you were out on the water and you saw this?
What the f is that? Go, I don't know what that is, Dave.
This video was uploaded to the Residual Payments YouTube channel back in 2013, and what's freaky about this one is that you see all this movement on the water on the left side of the screen, and then boom, we get something breaching the water much further away. So was this a pair of creatures, or more horrifyingly, just one big animal? Another thing I love about the video is the audible sounds of fear and panic coming from the couple filming. They sound genuinely shocked and freaked out. The story behind this one is that a woman named Patricia and her fiance Dave had been fishing in Sanibel, Florida on October 6th, 2013, when they spotted something in the water. It was a serpentine creature, longer than their boat, about 20 feet or about 6 meters. They watched as the thing sped through the water before splashing up, looking like it had wrapped itself around something before descending back down into the water. The pair had also lived in Florida all their lives and had seen plenty of dolphins and manatees over the years, stressing that what they encountered here was not a manatee or a dolphin. Just what in the 7 levels of hell is this thing? Not a whole lot of information on this video. All we know is it was shot in Santa Fe, New Mexico back in the summer. Sightings of chupacabra-like creatures have been reported all over New Mexico, and by extension the rest of the southwestern United States, Mexico, and parts of South America. So could this thing be a goat-sucking monster or something else? Some say it looks like a skinwalker mid-transformation, or just a very unhealthy looking person. Whatever it is though, if I lived in New Mexico, I'd probably be switching states. I just don't need something like that around me. What do you all think of this one? Genuine? Hoax? Share your thoughts down below. What you're looking at here is known as the Gable film, a piece of footage supposedly capturing a dogman creature on camera. It's a pretty creepy piece of footage. That old film grain quality gives it this very visceral, uneasy feeling about it. There's a lot of mystery behind this one, but the film was supposedly shot in Michigan at some point in the 70s. A man is being filmed on a snowmobile when the camera cuts to a hill. Crouched atop it is a dark, hairy-looking figure which begins bounding towards the camera, and then this happens. The legend of the Dogman dates all the way back to 1887, when a group of lumberjacks in Wexford County reported seeing this huge, hairy creature with the body of a man and the head of a dog. They described it standing on 2 legs, like a person, but with glowing eyes, sharp teeth, and claws. Since then, sightings have popped up all over Michigan, especially in the northern parts of the state. People claim they've spotted this eerie creature prowling the woods, particularly in areas like the Manistee National Forest. It's said to be about 7 feet tall, covered in fur, with the body of a human but the face of a snarling dog. This footage here was supposedly taken at the Roswell crash site. Again, we have a nice, creepy, grainy piece of footage here. Now, if this footage is indeed real, it would have been kept under wraps for a very long time. There was a ton of secrecy surrounding Roswell, but is it possible this footage came from a whistleblower? I definitely love to believe it, but I have my doubts. I've always been fascinated by the Roswell case itself though. We all know the story. In 1947, a mysterious object crashed near Roswell, New Mexico. It was described as a flying disc, but then almost overnight the story changed and authorities said it wasn't a flying saucer and that it was a weather balloon. But in the decades since, whistleblowers have come forward saying they know the real story, saying they saw alien bodies being recovered from the crash site. Alien bodies that have been described pretty much exactly like the ones seen in this clip. Now, what exactly are these things? Walking pairs of pants? Well, they've been dubbed the Fresno nightcrawlers, and they've been captured on camera more than once. The clip here was taken in Yosemite National Park. This next video was actually the first time the creatures were ever caught on camera. Take a look at this. It all started with a man named Jose in Fresno, California. He had a security camera set up outside his house, mostly to keep an eye on his lawn. One night, he was woken up by his dogs barking. He checked the camera footage, and that's when he saw this strange, white, almost ghostly figure walking across his lawn. It was tall, thin, and had long, spindly legs that seemed to glide over the grass. Jose was freaked out and woke up his brother to show him the footage. His brother even said he found small, weird footprints outside, but by the time investigators showed up to check it out, all the evidence had been washed away. Now, the footage that initially blew up online has kind of disappeared. The only remaining video is this grainy clip taken from a monitor. There was another sighting in 2020 in Billings, Montana on a home surveillance system, which also caught footage of these mysterious nightcrawlers. This one's a lot harder to see, but pay close attention to the dark right-hand corner of the screen. So what are these things? They don't really resemble any known animal, and they definitely don't fit your typical cryptid profile like Bigfoot or Mothman. Some people think they could be extraterrestrial beings or interdimensional creatures, or maybe more ghostly apparitions. But skeptics also say they could just be the result of weird camera glitches or that low quality playing tricks on our eyes. This video was uploaded to YouTube by Paranormal Planet, who'd been exploring an ice cave in Hallstatt, Austria. Most of the video is pretty standard touristy type footage of the cave until we get to the end and see whatever this is. That is a pretty freaky looking creature. Now, my first thought was like, I don't know, maybe it's a frog or something, but according to the uploader, this thing was the size of a large man, and they were also standing far enough away that they wouldn't have picked it up in this kind of detail if it was something as small as a frog. So if that's to be believed, then this is a pretty strange piece of footage, and honestly, the more I do look at it, the less frog-like this thing really looks. I mean, frogs don't really articulate like this, and they don't usually chill in ice caves either. And the way it bends its limbs almost looks like how a human would climb, except it's way too long and spindly to be a person. So I don't know what this is. Let me know your thoughts down below. This next video was posted to Facebook by a man named Clay Shiner. He was filming the woods one evening because he spotted something moving just behind the tree line. Turns out it was not a bear. The thing that really struck me about this video is how long this thing's arms are. At first it just looks like, you know, a typical formless black shape hiding in the trees like so many Sasquatch videos you see. But when it steps forward a bit and stretches its arms out to the sides, it's like, damn, those are long, very ape-like, and very creepy. Reddit user Adjacent Gunman posted this image with the caption, "Over a year ago, this picture was taken by a trail cam back on my property. This version has been lightened. It's something holding a dead coyote by the throat, and it stands about 7.5 to 8 feet tall." He also posted an unedited version of the image. He said he based the thing's height off of where its eyes are compared to his cabin. Now, this thing is hard to make out, but there's definitely something there. Could it be a bear standing on its hind legs? Possibly, but the way it's holding its prey, it looks almost humanoid. But I don't know, maybe that's just my wishful thinking. I wholeheartedly want Bigfoot to be real. Uploaded to the YouTube channel Hola Bible in 2011, this video really creeped a lot of people out. The uploader said he'd been hearing some strange sounds coming from the forest behind his home in Oregon. Keep in mind, he lived 6 miles from the nearest city. He went out to investigate with a night vision camera. Well, he didn't get very far before he came across the source of these strange noises. Crouching in some brush was some sort of odd-looking, hairless creature. He zooms into the thing a bit, trying to make out what the hell it is, and then this happens. So it looks like Gollum was lurking around this guy's woods, or an alien, or a rake. It looks like a lot of things, all of them creepy, none of which you'd want skulking around in your backyard. I just hope this dude moved. And finally, I have another piece of Bigfoot footage for you. This video comes out of Russia, and in it, we see some folks filming some woods near their property. They'd spotted something sprinting through the trees, and what they see is pretty shocking. What's really cool about this video is how the thing moves. How many supposed Bigfoot videos do you see where it's just this figure like lumbering through the trees like a dude in a costume, unsure of their footing? You kind of see them trying to keep their balance. Well, that is not the case here. This thing is sprinting at high speed and leaping across the ground as if it's an animal that is very familiar with its environment. That's why this has become such a well-known clip in the Sasquatch community, which no, I'm not a part of, but my interest is still very much there. So just what in the hell are we looking at here? I don't know, but I can say for sure that I don't like it. They look like the ghost girl from Ringu poking her head out of the water. They're pale with long black hair covering most of their faces, if these even are faces we're looking at here. It's hard to tell. You'll also notice they seem to have glowing reflective eyes. So the story behind this clip is that back in April of this year, a trail cam was set up right at the edge of a river where locals had been experiencing strange things, telling stories of dark spirits lurking in the water. Now, as for where the footage comes from, I've seen comments saying it's a river called Namor Ong. I tried to look up Namor Ong and I can't find any info on that place, so please let me know in the comments if you know anything about that or if Namor Ong even exists at all. Anyway, a pretty spooky clip. This next piece of trail cam footage comes from a TikToker named The Most Mandy, who posted this eerie footage captured by the security camera outside her home in the Appalachian Mountains. So we see a figure in a long white robe moving across her property, at one point saying, "Let me in this very craggly, almost witch-like voice. She gets closer and closer to the house until the motion sensors go off and she retreats back into the shadows. Here's another clip taken by a camera at another part of the house. We can hear the woman better in this clip, not that we really want to. Well, you know what? She sold me. I'd have let her in. I mean, how could anyone turn down such a soothing, friendly voice like that? Back in June, a hunter placed a trail camera in the woods expecting to pick up animals. Instead, he captured this odd scene. At about 2 a.m., a figure wearing what looks like a long dress steps out from the shadows and passes the camera. Who was this person and what were they doing in the middle of the woods at 2 in the morning? Well, they were running from someone or something. As the video continues, we see a dark mass crawl out of the depths of the thicket. As the thing gets closer, we notice it's crawling. It looks like it has long dark hair and reflective eyes. The rest of its face is hard to make out, but there's something not quite right about whatever this thing is. This next video is also captured by a trail cam in the Appalachian Mountains. It was posted by Elizabeth Maynard 98, who captured something incredibly unsettling moving across her property, and there were a pair of them. When they first pass by, it's hard to make out what these things are, but they're clearly walking on all fours. They move off camera before turning around and passing the camera again, this time walking on their hind legs, looking much more humanoid, but no less disturbing. They're incredibly thin with glowing eyes and look to be hairless, almost like your classic stereotypical alien. They also walk with this very unnatural gait, taking these itty-bitty little steps, almost like they're not used to walking upright. Some commenters also think these creatures look like rakes, skinwalkers, or possible wendigos, but what do you all think? This is a very strange post from about 9 months back by Reddit user What Did You Do, Ray?, who was seeking out help about the odd behavior he was experiencing with his trail camera, writing, "This trail cam is at a Christmas tree farm in Bedford, Pennsylvania. There are no buildings, lights, or structures in the area at all where this cam is. Every night for the past 2 months, my cam takes a picture at exactly 12:05 and 1 second in the AM. There is never anything in the pics. No deer, squirrels, foxes, etc. Recently, the pictures have shown a red light being cast across the top of the trees. One pic shows the red light to be extremely bright and def in a circle around the trees. And then there is the picture from March 5th of 2024 that shows 2 blurs, one directly above one of the trees and a very similar blur to the right on the ground just off the road. The odder thing is that this picture's timestamp is at 12:05 and 2 seconds. It's the only picture in the entire series of pics from the past 2 months that was taken 1 second later. Now, he also posted in the comments later that he'd switched the camera to take video instead of pictures at one point, and that the camera would successfully take video at any other time of day except 12:05 a.m., where it wouldn't take video when the sensor went off at that time, only taking a picture. Definitely strange. So the question is, what's causing this camera to go off? Well, something was hovering above the trees, casting a red light at the exact same time of night every night. for 2 months. This dude just happened to spot a prehistoric wolf in his yard. Yeah, once it runs up to the normal sized dog, we really get the full scope of this thing's size. The thing looks like a dire wolf. Now, this is actually a timber wolf, a huge timber wolf, but a timber wolf all the same. The video was shot in Saskatchewan, and the man who shot it said, "I work as a fishing guide in northern Saskatchewan, and I shot this video on one of our trails around the lodge. We get a lot of bears that come around the lodge, but this year we had a black wolf that started to come around for a few days. We spotted the wolf through the window of the kitchen in the lodge, and I made my way outside with the camera. When I started to take pictures, the wolf left, then returned a few minutes later, and that's when Trigger, his dog, took after the wolf. The wolf waited for Trigger to turn away from him, and that's when he grabbed the dog in the back and threw her up in the air right in front of me. Dan fired into the air, and that broke the fight up. The wolf turned and left. We followed the wolf into the bush and shot again to scare him off. The wolf came back 2 more times that day, looking for the dog, we think. Trigger had a few good wounds and cuts, but she's fine now. This next video is captured in Russia. Take a look at this. The footage is from a remote area in Russia, located between the Ural Mountains and the Volga River, close to the Kazakhstan border. So in the video, we've got a car driving down a dark road. The driver and passengers are chatting in Russian, and if you listen closely, you can clearly hear the word Yeti pop up a few times in their conversation. Now at first, it sounds like they're just having a normal drive, but then we see what we see about 36 seconds into the clip. This blurry, shadowy figure dashes across the road right in front of the car's headlights. The moment it happens, the car immediately slams to a stop and the engine cuts out. Now, as far as what exactly is in the video, it's hard to say. The figure that dashes across the road is too blurry and fast to make out much detail, plus it's white, so it blends in pretty well with the snow, but from what we can see, it doesn't look like any normal animal or person. Next up, we have another strange video out of Florida. Take a look at this one. The video was shot in Edgewater, Florida. Joe Tiller and his wife April were out on the water near Menard May Park when they recorded a massive creature around 12 to 15 feet long. Now at first, Joe thought that it was just a big manatee, but something was off about it. He described it saying it had huge muscles like shoulders on a bull. It was as if it was rolling its shoulders like a bear underwater. He also pointed out that they didn't see any fur, head, or limbs though. Tiller, who's lived in the area for 5 years working on boats, said he's never seen anything like this. The creature was even grunting, which freaked him out enough to steer clear when it started heading toward a nearby channel. After sharing the video online, it quickly went viral, but no one can agree on what this thing is. Some think it could be a manatee struggling at low tide. Others have even said it could be a black bear crossing the river, but Tiller went on to say, "I can't find any video online that shows manatees to look like this with rolling shoulders." Wow, this is nightmare fuel. I hate how large whatever this thing is, the fact that it looks slightly human, the glowing eyes, all of it is just the last thing I'd ever want to see walking through the forest at night. Not sure where this one comes from originally. If anyone has any more info on it, let me know down in the comments. Alright, I'm gonna finish off with a fun one. In the Mount Rushmore of cryptids, the Loch Ness Monster is right up there with Bigfoot and whoever else you'd want to put on the list. I imagine Mothman would be on there. Anyway, take a look at this. I can't tell you how much I want this to be real. I don't know where this footage comes from originally. All I know is that it looks pretty convincing, but obviously someone made this with some very skillful CGI or AI or whoever knows what eye these days. But I can say this, out of some of the crazier cryptids like the Loveland Frog and the Flatwoods Monster, the idea of a surviving Plesiosaur lurking somewhere out there in the vastness of Earth's waters isn't all that hard to believe. I mean, not only did these things actually exist at one point in time, but there's a lot of unexplored water. Who knows what could be out there, really? I highly doubt there's a surviving dinosaur swimming around in Loch Ness, but in other parts of the world where there's more marine life to feast on, sure. Maybe.
In 2009, residents of a quiet coastal town in Israel called Kiryat Yam started reporting something completely bizarre. A mermaid seen lounging on rocks at sunset before diving into the sea. Dozens of witnesses claimed to see the same thing, a female figure with pale skin, a fishtail, and long dark hair. The sightings became so frequent and credible that the local government did something no one ever expected. They offered a $1 million reward reward for anyone who could prove the mermaid's existence. One man said he watched her do a backflip before vanishing. Another woman swore she saw her tail slap the water. News outlets across the world picked up the story, camera crews came, tourists showed up, and yet no one was able to capture solid proof. But the stories didn't stop, and here is the weirdest part. The reward still stands to this day unclaimed. When Christopher Columbus spotted land in the Caribbean, he wasn't just discovering new territory, he may have discovered a mermaid. In his 1493 ship log, Columbus described seeing 3 creatures rise from the water with the upper bodies of women and tails like fish. His exact words? They are not as pretty as they are depicted, for somehow in the face they look like men. Most historians chalk this up to a manatee sighting, but that doesn't fully make sense. Columbus was an experienced navigator, he knows what manatees looked like, and why would he mention their faces at all if it was just a sea cow? What makes this more intriguing is that other sailors on his crew also reported similar sightings. These weren't isolated events, they were shared, consistent, and written down in one of the most famous explorer journals of all time. Could Columbus have stumbled onto something we've since lost? In the rough, stormy waters between the Scottish mainland and the Outer Hebrides lies a stretch known as the Minch, and sailors have feared it for generations. The reason? A strange and sinister race of sea beings called the Blue Men. These weren't graceful mermaids, these were blue-skinned, human-sized aquatic beings who were said to control storms and drown ships. Legend says they would swim up to a boat and shout poetry or riddles at the captain. If the captain failed to answer in rhyme, the Blue Men would overturn the vessel. While this sounds like classic mythology, here's a very strange thing. This exact story has been passed down for hundreds of years with very little variation. Sailors in that area regularly experience unexplainable equipment failure, freak waves, and vanishings. To this day, some Scottish fishermen won't sail through this area without leaving an offering in the water. Superstition or something they're too afraid to talk about? You decide. In 2012, construction crews working at 2 separate dam sites in Zimbabwe refused to return to work. The reason? They claimed that they were being harassed and even physically attacked by mermaids living in the water. This wasn't just a local rumor, it reached Zimbabwe's House of Assembly. High-ranking government officials confirmed the stoppage and admitted traditional healers were being brought in to appease the water spirits. The mermaids, known in the local Shona culture, are believed to live in deep pools and protect sacred water sources. Locals describe them as beautiful but dangerous beings who can bless or curse anyone who crosses them. Despite pressure, workers wouldn't return until ceremonies were held, and after the rituals, work resumed without further incident. That kind of mass fear, especially among adults working a government project, doesn't just come from total imagination. Something in those waters had to have scared them.
So this image was posted to Reddit by user PHFM 4 months ago, with the caption reading, "Friends trail cam in North Carolina." Now, I would be pretty alarmed knowing this thing was lurking around in the dark anywhere near me. The immediate thought is, well, that doesn't look right. This is a hairy creature standing on 2 legs, must be Bigfoot. Well, probably not. I mean, this could easily be a black bear. Bears do stand on their hind legs, and it could be hunching over, which is why you can't see its head, but even still, there's just something creepy about this image. It just looks oddly human to me. It's the best way I can describe it. What do you think though? Bear, Bigfoot, werewolf, skinwalker, and mid-transformation? Let us know in the comments. Back in July of this year, the Instagram account Lower Florida Bucks posted this series of images here with the description reading, "I've had some strange trail cam pics sent in through the years, but these from Roberts Lowell might just take the cake." He got pics of this person/creature on 2 separate cameras and swears they're legit. He also said these were taken on a property 12 miles from the nearest town. What do y'all make of it? And that's a very good question. What do you make of whatever this is? It's hard to make anything out because of how blurry the figure is. Clearly it was darting around at a good speed. I can say this though, it doesn't look human, at least not exactly. This next Reddit post is from 2 months back. JT245 writes, "Hello. After looking at some old photos from a trail camera, I noticed a silhouette in the background and a white spot on the second photo. My brother was alone and has no explanation. What are your theories? Now, take a real close look at these images and see if you can spot anything. It's hard to notice at first, but look at the middle right-hand side of the first image. We'll zoom in and circle it for you. Okay, so it's a shape that sorta has a form you might be able to recognize as a person, maybe. This wouldn't be all that strange on its own, but now take another look at the second picture. Whatever that shape is, it isn't there anymore. Now, I couldn't spot the white spot the uploader described in the second picture, but if you can find it, let us know down in the comments. But that figure is kind of strange. It's pretty small. Some people have said it looks like almost maybe it could be a fae. I don't know. So this next story may be not a creature captured on trail cam, but it's equally, if not more disturbing. This woman here was captured on a deer cam in the woods, going back and forth in the dark for hours, barefoot. The owner of the property was pretty alarmed when he saw the images, making a post online about it, reading, "Does anyone recognize this girl/woman? She appeared on my trail camera in July of this year at 5 a.m. She was barefoot and appears to be running. She isn't in any trouble with me, just curious who she is, what she was doing, and if she's okay. If you recognize her, please message me." I've been baffled by this for a month, mainly because the woods can be tough walking with boots. I contacted police as soon as I discovered the photos. They were baffled as well. Now, some commenters say she may just have been on a run, but apparently there are no trails nearby, and the area she was running in has a thicket that the property owner's dog won't even go through. It's just thick vegetation. No one would be wandering through there, especially at night barefoot. So it's just all very strange and kind of concerning. At the time of this recording, Redditor Apart Operation 329 just made this post a little over a week ago with the caption, "Humanoid found on trail cam." They went on to write, "My friend sent this to our group chat a while back. I don't know why I just now bothered to post it, but I wanted to know if anyone here could identify this thing. We can't tell if it's a person or not. Not sure if this is the right sub to put this in, but any help is appreciated." Now, what we see here is immediately off-putting. To me, this thing looks way too strange and thin to be human, but a lot of commenters mention that the figure does look like a human woman, just a really thin woman who probably isn't okay. It looks like she may have wounds on parts of her body, and she's clearly emaciated. Some think this person may have needed help and that the uploader should contact the police, but I don't know what good that will really do. Personally, it's hard to make anything out from this image, and it's from 2022. So this was someone in distress. I just hope they made it home okay. In October of 2024, staff at the Bristol Zoo project were going through footage from their night vision camera traps when they found something really strange. In the middle of Bear Wood, a 7.5-acre enclosure where bears, wolves, wolverines, and lynxes roam, the cameras picked up a strange four-legged creature. It had what looked like wings and horns. Obviously, none of the zoo's animals matched it. And for weeks, people had been saying something strange was moving between the trees. Even the animals seemed spooked. Wolves and wolverines don't usually pay much attention to the usual wildlife like deer, but this time they did. They seemed spooked by something. Well, they still have no idea what this creature was. Some people think it's just a deer caught in like a weird angle, maybe with motion blur making the ears look kind of like wings, but others think maybe Bristol now has its own local legend. Well, it's not often we get news about Nessie, but here we are. Just back in January, something strange showed up on one of the live webcams overlooking Loch Ness. A regular visitor named Andy caught it moving near the shore, heading towards Sherry Island, then turning around and slipping back out into deeper water before vanishing. He said it was cruising along for a few minutes between 4:41 and 4:48 in the afternoon. Andy's been coming to Loch Ness since the late 80s. He's familiar with the environment and normal wildlife around the loch, but this was something else. The group that runs the webcam, Loch Ness Exploration, said the footage was worth sharing because it wasn't just another random wave or boat ripple. Whatever the thing was, it looked pretty big, and this isn't the first time. In August of 2023, an Irish Nessie fan named Owen O'Fadigan spotted something on a webcam as well. He described seeing a large black hump that popped up, moved across the water, then dipped back under as a boat got close. Owen said fish do not have wakes. The movement was uncharacteristic of a seal or an otter. Only the Loch Ness Monster is the obvious choice. What you're looking at here is a sonar image taken at Loch Ness. On September 22nd, 2024, a skipper named Sean Sloggy was out on Loch Ness doing his usual rounds when something strange popped up on his sonar screen. Sean's been working these waters for years, but he's never seen anything quite like this. The strangeness of it was chilling. It's the sort of thing that leaves you speechless, he said. Sean was with maritime pilot Liam McKenzie that day, just getting ready for another boat to arrive, when the sonar suddenly lit up. There was a massive object sitting about 320 feet down. Sean's used to spotting all kinds of weird fish and shapes on sonar, but this thing was massive. The shape looked long and stretched out, and Sean noticed there were what seemed like air pockets inside, something you wouldn't normally see with regular fish or logs even. They tried to circle back and find it again, but whatever it was had completely disappeared. We're not sonar experts, but I've never seen anything like it, Sean went on to say. In October of 2015, a man named Dave Black was driving near a golf course in Little Egg Harbor Township, New Jersey, when he saw something that looked like a deer or maybe a llama walking along, but then it suddenly sprouted wings and flew off into the trees. Dave managed to snap a quick blurry photo on his phone though, and sure enough, there was this dark creature with big wings and what looked like hooves dangling beneath it. Dave had no idea what he was looking at. And when news of the photo came out, he stuck to his story, insisting that he was not trying to mess with anyone, that he really saw it and had no explanation. The photo blew up online and got everyone in New Jersey talking about the Jersey Devil again, a legendary winged creature that's supposedly haunted the Pine Barrens since the 1700s. Back in November of 2007, a Fresno homeowner known only as Jose to the media got spooked by his dogs barking at night, and he checked his security camera footage. He couldn't believe what he was looking at. The video shows this tall, skinny white figure gliding across his lawn, almost like living pants. There's no arms or torso, it's just long legs carrying a rounded quote-unquote head on top. Jose was pretty freaked. He woke his brother, saved the clip by pointing a camcorder at his monitor because the system would overwrite the footage. The story blew up after he shared it with Univision, and paranormal investigators also got involved. Even the History Channel covered it as part of fact or faked paranormal files and called it unexplainable. Then in 2011, similar footage was captured at Yosemite National Park showing two of these things together, one smaller, one larger. No one's ever figured out what they were. They're simply known as Fresno nightcrawlers.
In 1730, Hans Egede, a Danish-Norwegian missionary, wrote about something he saw while sailing near Greenland, a creature that defied explanation. He described it as having a human head and torso with a fish-like tail. According to Egede, the creature rose beside the boat, stared directly at the crew, then slowly sank into the sea. What makes this account so unsettling is who Hans Egede was. A serious, devout man whose writings were focused on converting Inuit populations, not really fantasy. He wasn't known for exaggeration or tall tales. In fact, many of his missionary accounts are painfully dry. So for him to suddenly document a mermaid, well, it's a bit odd. Historians today still include Egede's account in discussions of unexplained ocean phenomena. He even sketched the creature in later versions of his log. He either hallucinated or he saw something that he really couldn't explain. Japan's version of a mermaid is not the romantic beauty you'd expect. Known as the Ningyo, this creature is a mix of human and fish with a grotesque twist. Golden scales, sharp claws, and a monkey-like mouth filled with tiny human teeth. According to ancient legend, eating the flesh of these creatures grants eternal life, but catching one brings disaster. In the 1800s, fishermen supposedly caught one off the coast of Shikoku Island. The creature died shortly after, but was preserved and shown to a local official. And here's where things get even stranger. Reports say its remains were later hidden in a Buddhist Buddhist temple to avoid bringing misfortune. In 2022, scientists analyzed a mummified mermaid stored in a shrine. Though DNA testing showed it was likely constructed from various animals, the preservation techniques suggest someone genuinely believed it was real, so why go to such lengths if it was all just a hoax? In Serbia's Lake Varana, locals whisper about the Mermaid of Black Lake, a pale, humanoid figure with long black hair that emerges on foggy mornings. In the early 2000s, a group of hikers claimed to have seen the creature from a distance, describing it as female in shape but with unblinking white eyes and scales across its arms. When they tried to approach, it vanished into the water with a splash. What's eerie is that locals had told nearly identical stories for decades, even before modern media could influence the narrative. In 2013, an Icelandic diving team exploring an underwater cave near Greenland captured something odd on camera. The footage, which was briefly circulated online before being lost, showed a humanoid figure with fins darting behind a rock. The diver filming could be heard screaming underwater before the camera cut out. Though skeptics cried hoax, the divers themselves, experienced professionals, stood by what they saw. Some believed the footage was confiscated due to its implications, and it doesn't help that government bodies reportedly shut down that cave to public access not long after. In the 1940s, fishermen off the coast of Benin, West Africa, claimed to have found what looked like a mermaid corpse tangled in their net. The body, which reportedly had webbed hands, fish-like skin, and a mostly human skull, was taken to local authorities. But within days, it was removed by officials and allegedly flown to France for study. Nothing was ever released to the public, and what makes this case so strange is how many unrelated locals swore they saw it and how quickly it was covered up. Some claim it was part of the Mamiwata legend, a powerful mermaid spirit worshipped across West Africa. In 1967, a ferry captain off the coast of British Columbia saw something on the rocks that stunned him. He wasn't alone. Passengers on board reported seeing a blonde-haired mermaid lounging on the rocks near Main Island. Photos were taken and one even made it to a local newspaper. Some said it was a prank, but others insisted that it was real. In fact, the town embraced the story so much they started selling mermaid souvenirs. The strange thing, no one ever came forward to claim it as a hoax. No models, no performers, no confessions, just a mystery that remains unsolved to this day.
And we're kicking off this list with a very recent Ohio Bigfoot report. This one is detailed on the BFRO, or the Bigfoot Field Researchers website, where there are tons of different eyewitness reports of the elusive beast, but this is a good one to start off with because it just happened back in January of this year. On January 22nd, on a snowy afternoon in Warren County, Ohio, a family reported seeing a big creature standing near a bike path while they were driving down the road. The father of the family wrote, "As we were driving along State Route 350 towards State Route 123, south of Oregonia, we came to the Loveland bike trail that runs next to the Little Miami River. As I slowed down near the bike path crossing, we looked out the passenger side of the car and saw a large black figure standing a distance up the bike path facing the river. While it was snowing, the ground was covered with at least 3 inches of snow, so it didn't appear that someone would be on the bike path biking or walking the trail. The weather was not ideal for anyone to be hunting or walking on the path at the time. The figure appeared to have come from the woods and was walking towards the river." He also described the figure as having no obvious clothing pattern, being consistently dark, and that his wife and 2 teenage children also spotted it. There have apparently been at least 9 credible sightings of a supposed Bigfoot-like creature in the same area too. Number 9, Bigfoot howls. In this video uploaded by We Do It Outdoors, we see our cameraman roaming through a forest in Lore City, Ohio. The sun is starting to set and we hear a series of strange eerie howls and tree knocks. We Do It Outdoors seems to have started as a channel about maintaining lawns, but over the last few years, there have been a number of Bigfoot related videos uploaded on there, one of which I may or may not be discussing later in the list. And whether they're real or not, some of them are pretty entertaining. We get some genuinely creepy sounds in this video. It definitely sounds like something or someone is howling in the distance. If I heard sounds like this while I was in the forest, I'd just turn right around immediately. This guy sticks around until it's like fully dark, and the sounds just get louder and louder. Real or not, it's definitely a creepy video. Number 8, the Jefferson County report. Next up, I have another report detailed on the Bigfoot Field Researchers website. This incident was reported in July of 2021, still pretty recent, in Jefferson County, Ohio. A man describes finding a large footprint in his chicken coop, as well as all of his chickens having gone missing. He's quoted saying, "On July 9th at approximately 10 a.m., I noticed my 5 chickens were missing. The chicken coop was full of feathers, but no bodies or blood. I did a perimeter check and came across an extremely large footprint. I went back to the house and brought down a tape measure to the footprint and measured it and took pictures with the tape measure beside it. The footprint measured a length that was apparently 18 inches with a width of about 9 to 10 inches. A Bigfoot investigator named Jim Thompson came to investigate the man's property and discovered more footprints that were about 4 feet apart from one another. That's about double the gait of an average person, by the way. On July 24th, a couple weeks after making his initial report, the man described hearing strange yelps coming from either end of his property, as if they were yelping back and forth to each other. And he also said that on some nights he gets an eerie feeling that something is watching him. I have that almost every night too. At number 7, we have Susan Ferenchak. Suzanne Ferenchak is a former skeptic turned Bigfoot enthusiast. After spotting a strange hairy creature near her home in Loudonville, Ohio, she had first spotted what she described as a big black-furred creature jump over the road. Not sure where said road was exactly, or what type of road it was. If it was a highway road, that would be nuts. If it was just a small dirt road, still scary, not quite as impressive though. Suzanne has recorded audio of what she believes to be a Sasquatch while out in the wilderness near her home, and has shared the 2-minute clip online. I gave it a listen. The quality, not great, but it's definitely eerie. You hear this distant howling. It definitely doesn't sound like a wolf. You also get some classic, whoops in there too, which a lot of Bigfoot researchers describe Sasquatches, making. Whether it's a genuine Bigfoot or not, I really just dig supposed Bigfoot audio. I just imagine being out alone in the woods at night and hearing some distant wail and whooping, and human or not, I mean, it'd be pretty bone-chilling. All right, now I'm going to share the last report from the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization. At least for this video anyway, there are tons on the site. This one was reported in Mahoning County, Ohio in July of 2021. Sorry if I'm messing up the pronunciation there. A man had described seeing a strange creature one evening after returning home with his wife, and is quoted as saying, "Tonight, yet another sighting by our pond. My wife and I were at dinner, and as we arrived home about 8:30 p.m., a large, fast, gray and silver, light brown, covered in fur Bigfoot darted from the bushes in our front into the cattails in our pond on all fours. We both looked at each other and said, 'Did you just see that?' The subject was down low and bent in the middle as it moved. Unlike a dog, its undulating movement was not as fluid as a dog. It was not a bear. It appeared to be from 4 to 5 feet at the back and torso built like a barrel. When it went into the cattails, we were no longer able to see it." In February of 2012, farmer Pyotr Cherov, I don't know if I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but I couldn't find a video of anyone pronouncing it online. Well, anyway, he's an elderly farmer. He set up a camera by a river feeding Lake Lagerflot in East Iceland. He ended up with some pretty crazy footage that's gone on to become the best possible video evidence of the mythical Icelandic lake monster known as the Langerflot worm. The video shows what looks like a serpentine creature drifting just under the icy water, maybe 30 to 90 feet long. The clip went viral around the world, even prompting a local panel to vote 7 to 6 that it was real and awarded him with a small cash prize. The Langerflot worm's been part of Icelandic folklore since the 14th century. said to be this massive lake monster, sometimes said to be longer than a football field. In August of 2023, photographer Che Kelly dropped a set of images she'd been holding on to since 2018. She and her husband had been having lunch at an inn on Loch Ness when she caught something gliding through the water about 200 meters offshore. Che said it was moving, quote, right to left at a steady speed, spinning and rolling at times. We never saw a head or neck. After a couple minutes, it just disappeared and we never saw it again, end quote. At first, she thought it might be otters or a seal, but it never came up for air again and it just kept moving. Like a serpent, she continued. Steve Feltham, a well-known Nessie hunter who's been at this for over 30 years, called the photos the most exciting surface shots in decades, saying they are the most compelling surface images of the phenomenon. They still defy explanation. The images show two rounded humps rolling through the water. There's no obvious head or neck, but it definitely doesn't look like otters or divers. Whatever this really was, a Nessie or a massive eel, these are definitely some of the clearest and most intriguing Nessie photos possibly ever. In mid-2023, farmers near Oruro, Bolivia started spotting something weird roaming their fields. One drone video caught this hunched, dark figure standing upright in a crop field. Carlos Flores, who first spotted it in the footage, said, "It is strange. It looks like a dog, but it has a hump further back. Looking at the images, it has the same position as the chupacabra." Well, this creepy drone footage seemed to trigger fears that the legendary goat sucker had struck again, and a lot of that had to do with the timing of this. Farmers in the area had been finding dead livestock drained of their BLOOD. Some of them took to installing floodlights around their ranches, hoping to either scare it off or actually catch it on camera. The footage itself is not super clear. I mean, it's taken from very far away, but you can definitely see this dark hunched shape in the center of the frame, motionless at first, then shifting, almost like it realizes the drone is watching and scurries away. Imagine strolling on a Long Island beach and finding this thing washed up on the shore. Well, in July of 2008, a woman named Jenna Hewitt and two friends were walking along Ditch Plains Beach in Montauk when they came across this bloated, hairless corpse with a weird beak-like snout and long limbs. Jenna's friend Christina snapped the infamous photo, and the image blew up online within days. People couldn't figure out what it was. Some thought it was some kind of deformed raccoon, maybe a sea turtle without its shell, and of course, some people immediately jumped to secret government experiments. That's because this was pretty close to the old Plum Island Animal Disease Center. Some people were saying that maybe it escaped from some shady lab over there. No one ever officially confirmed what it was. To this day, people still argue about whether it was just a decomposed raccoon or maybe something else. Apparently, this next piece of footage was taken somewhere in Bolivia on April 20th of 2020. The video starts off pretty normal. You see a nice view of the trees, you hear birds in the background, but then you notice it. There's something hovering in the sky. It's not a bird, there's no flapping of wings, plus it's way too big to be a bird anyway. It's certainly not a plane. The object seems to just drift downward, slowly making its way toward the trees before finally vanishing into the tree line. Now, what could it be? A drone? Well, the object is far away, but still pretty easy to make out. This would have to be a pretty sizable drone, right? Well, I don't know. What do you think? Let us know down in the comments. What you're looking at here may not look like much at first glance. It's a snake. I mean, big deal, right? Well, the thing is, this is an aerial photograph taken way up in a helicopter. That snake is said to have been 50 feet long. Back in 1959, Colonel Remy van Leerde, an experienced Belgian World War II fighter pilot, was flying a helicopter over the Congo. As he's flying over the jungle in the Katanga region, he spots something moving down below. He claimed it was a massive snake, and it would have had to be for it to catch his eye way up in a chopper.
Then I was already flying for 25 years, so I have a very good experience of measuring things. And I would say the snake I saw there was close to 50 foot.
The snake had green and brown scales, and a head that was apparently 3 feet long and 2 feet wide. You could fit a grown man in its mouth. And as he flew in closer, the snake rose up off the ground about 10 feet into the air like it was trying to strike at the chopper. Van Leerde circled around a few times so someone else on board could snap a photo of it. Of course, skeptics have their doubts, but he stuck to his story up until his death in 1990. But what do you think he saw out there in the jungle? A new species, a leftover from the dinosaur age, or was the whole story a hoax? Let me know what you think in the comments. This next story takes us deep into the heart of Texas, a little rural spot called Dabina out in Fayette County. Michael Demmel captured something really strange on a hunting camera on his property. He has a bunch of these cameras set up, using them to track wildlife like coyotes, bobcats, and raccoons. These motion sensor cameras take about 100 pictures a day, and Michael goes through them every single day. He's been doing this for 10 years, so when he says something looks off, that's really saying something. Well, one night he captured whatever this thing was. He said he thought it was a monkey at first, and to be fair, in the blurry photo it kinda does look like one. Of course, that would still be very, very strange. There are no monkeys just running around in Texas unless one escaped from a zoo, and no, there were no monkey jailbreaks reported. So he shows the image to some friends, tries to get some answers, and the photo eventually hits the local news. Some say the thing looks a lot like a chupacabra, the legendary cryptid that's been blamed for livestock deaths for decades. Others think it has a bit of an alien or skinwalker kind of vibe. Now, the creature's about as big as a medium-sized dog, but the body shape, the face, totally off. Michael said, "In the 10 years I've been reviewing my cameras, I have never encountered anything like it." Even the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department got involved. They looked at the photo but ruled out any normal animal, saying it didn't look like a baby deer or anything they could easily identify. I always liked to imagine Spider-Man was real when I was a kid. Kinda always hoped I'd see him swinging around up there one day. Well, I would have been thrilled to see this next video. This footage was captured at the pedestrian bridge in Kiev, not where you'd be expecting to spot the web slinger, but superheroes do get around. Now clearly this is a person crawling under the bridge, but even so, why? I mean, this is pretty dangerous. That water down below does not look very deep. Unless this person has actual web slinging abilities, if they fall, they're getting hurt or worse. So who is this person? Is it just a thrill seeker? Are they out of their mind? Or is there a chance that this isn't even a person at all and that the camera person caught something otherworldly crawling under that bridge? This piece of footage was uploaded to Reddit by user KeyProposal8529. Some sort of strange creature was peering out at them from the woods. They wrote, "Hello all, I live near the Trail of Tears in Missouri. As I got home one night I saw this thing in the woods by my house. From where it was standing, it has to be tall because there's a ditch right below where it stands. Any ideas? I'm terrified. Yes, I stayed in my car until I got the balls to run inside my house." Now, I have no idea what this thing could be. It's hard to make out, but if the Redditor is telling the truth here, then this is a pretty creepy piece of footage because they pass by this area constantly. I mean, it's right outside their home. They know when something is out of place. A Reddit user out in the Midwest has been spotting a strange creature in their neighborhood. First, they posted these images along with a caption reading, "These are photos taken in the Midwest from an iPhone at night. The cryptid in question randomly appears in the same spot. Once a person begins to approach, it will vanish. It was seen again a few weeks ago and moved at an incredible speed across a few backyards. A local dog will bark at the spot that it appears in, even when it's not there. Trail cams will be set up soon. Please give me some ideas as to what it could be." The Redditor also posted an update with a video attached. This time, we can supposedly hear whatever this strange creature is. They wrote in the description, We've got a video of the cryptid making what sounds like a scream. My friend was trying to find where it was standing but couldn't see it. Once the video ended, it appeared again in his yard but vanished as he went to get his phone again. Number 5, the 1992 Grassman sighting. Grassman is again the name often given to the big ape-like creature or creatures that so many Ohio locals have spotted. And in this video, taken in eastern Ohio in 1992 by a man named Don Keating, he had spotted what looked like a large hairy creature walking into the forest. He managed to capture it on camera, and though the footage is very grainy and he was a fair distance away from it, there is definitely something walking into the forest. It's not the most convincing video evidence. It's hard to tell what you're looking at, but I do always find something eerie about old 90s VHS footage, and Keating seems to believe he saw some kind of large cryptid. So this video was featured on Monster Quest and features an interview with Keating describing what he saw and that he was a skeptic before this encounter. I always like it when they say there were skeptics before, because, you know, it's a bit more convincing that way. At number 4, we have the famous Minerva monster case. Back in 1978, a family living in Minerva, Ohio reported what they believed to be a large Bigfoot-esque cryptid around their home. The Caton family reported rocks being thrown at their home by the creature and would spot large footprints in their backyard. But there are other reports of a mysterious creature in the area around the same time. The Caton's neighbor also spotted the big hairy creature, as well as other residents of the area. The case became known as the Minerva Monster Case and gained rather significant media attention at the time. A former Stark County sheriff named Jim Shannon, who had responded to one of the Caton family's reports, is quoted as saying, "They were terrified. I will always believe them. They saw something. It's just, what did they see?" This case has become the subject of a 2015 documentary called Minerva Monster, directed by Seth Breedlove, who we might be talking about in a bit. Next up, we have Mark DeWerth. Mark DeWerth is a Ohio Bigfoot investigator who has collected a fair amount of evidence in the 30 years he's spent on the hunt. He's got footprints, audio recordings, and of course his first-hand encounter, which was the catalyst for his research. The story is he'd been exploring an old strip mine in search of badger dens, was followed out by something which soon stood up and looked at him, a big bipedal hairy creature. If that happened to me, I would not go looking for the creature again. I would move out of Ohio the next morning probably. Thought of an 8-foot tall hairy beast roaming through the woods has always been kind of creepy to me, but having one stare at you in a cave, imagine looking through a cave thinking all you're gonna see that day is maybe some badgers, and then you're met with an 8-foot tall hairy ape man glaring at you. Only I'm allowed to find badgers in this cave. Whether the story is true or not, definitely a terrifying image. A video shared by Spectrum News shows Mark talking to several residents of Warren County, Ohio about his experience with this elusive creature, as well as hearing some of their first-hand accounts. He plays an audio recording, which sounds, again, pretty creepy. I love me some Bigfoot audio recordings. Anyway, Mark DeWerth has been interviewed on tons of podcasts discussing his Sasquatch experiences, so seek those out if you're interested. And at number 2, we have the Seth Breedlove encounter. Seth Breedlove is a filmmaker who's gone on to shoot a series called The Bigfoot Project, which you can find on a YouTube channel called Small Town Monsters. Before he had his first encounter, Seth described himself as a skeptic. In a YouTube video uploaded by Ed Ballant, Seth recounts the time he first encountered what he believes to be a Bigfoot. Seth had been riding down the countryside of Minerva, Ohio, when he spotted what looked to be a large bipedal creature with brown hair running through a clearing on a hill about 50 yards away. And it was fast, clearing the space in less than a second. One of the things that really stuck out to Seth most was the creature's very noticeable musculature, especially in the bicep area. Listening to Seth talk, he doesn't sound like he genuinely believes what he saw. He doesn't seem like he's making anything up on the spot or anything. Whether it was indeed the missing link or something more benign, he definitely did see something. And coming in at our number 1 spot, is the Salt Fork footage. This video, once again uploaded by the YouTube channel We Do It Outdoors, is only 10 minutes long, but there's a lot going on with this one. So two men were exploring Salt Fork State Park in eastern Ohio, and after hearing some strange noises, they happened to capture footage of what looks to be a large bipedal hairy animal. We have a few different pieces of evidence in this video. We have handheld footage of the creature moving through the trees. We have some drone footage, lots of sounds too. It's a very meaty video. Now, could it be a big guy in a suit? Look, it can always be a big guy in a suit, but I gotta say, if it is a suit, it's not a bad one. It's pretty good. It looks like it has some bulk to it. It doesn't look like just one of those generic gorilla suits you can pick up at Spirit Halloween. And what I like here is that the footage is clear. He's not relying on shaking the camera around or making the video extra grainy to try and obscure the image. And just for those reasons alone, I like this video, even if it isn't real. We also hear some vocalizations going on here, so like I said, it's just a lot happening. Check this one out over at We Do It Outdoors.